Hey, good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I'm Jack Talcott. Tonight, Sunday reflections, some inspirations. The hope and intentions for tonight is to share some, well, just that, some inspiring conversations, some observations, maybe some perspectives on things that have been going on in the world and with you. I'm hoping Sunday night we're going to have, well, after my own day of inspirations, I'm hoping we're going to have some great conversations, and we are going to open up the panel. Paul or Moose, if you may, can I ask you to drop the link at some point when you're ready, please? The Sunday reflections, what we'll be doing tonight. Bear with me there. Sorry about that. So today, I'm going to share a little bit about me. We'll bring folks up and hopefully continues where I started. See, where I'm at right now is a great place. I got up this morning and attended a local church service, and then I tell you what, man, I've come across some really inspiring pastors and ministers. Oh, please, if you hear the smoke alert, the smoke detector alert, it's probably not you. It probably is me. um, we're still dealing with that amateur hour, but please allow us to grow. And hopefully, it's not too much of an interruption. Today, went to church, and on the way to church this morning, I was really inspired with some gratitude. This morning, as usual, I kind of wake up, and honestly, I wonder if others have this same feeling. I bet, I wonder. If you look back and you're honest, you wake up every day and it's like, holy cows, dude, this life thing, it's still continuing. I get to play another day. I get to be me for another day. And I'm like, holy cows, man. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean to be me? What does it mean to be Jack Talcott? I mean, these are the conversations I have with myself. But that's why I hope to talk to others so I don't seem so bizarre speaking to myself all the time. So, what does it mean to be you today? I mean, the past is what you were, the past is what I was, and I remember all sorts of things. I've learned a lot. I've been to a lot of places. Holy cows, man. Um, those distractions are probably unhelpful. I've been to a lot of places. I used to believe a lot of things. And these days, the only thing I believe is that I am. And that's probably the same for you. And so this is what I've been really thinking about. I'm pretty sure this is a special time here on earth. The divide, the prophecies, the revelations. I think this is a special time here on earth that we are sharing, that we are experiencing, that we are part of creating, co creating together. This morning I drove to church filled with gratitude and inspiration. I mean, I know where I live. I know news of what's going on in the world today. I know that many people, because of the news and what's going on today, and what many others have experienced, I know there's many people in different states of mind. They're in depression, they're anxious, they're angry, they're living on edge, trying to survive. That's not me anymore. I'm not saying I'm different. I'm just saying I live differently, perhaps. I just have a different perspective, but we all have different perspectives. So what does that mean? Well, our perspectives develop our feelings. Our perspectives are based on our past memories, what we value, what we dislike. Our perspectives are our own, as are our feelings. And so this morning I was driving to church feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Healthy, mobile. I can see, I can hear, I can taste things. I can still feel things. And the sun was shining. I was like, holy cows, man. So made it to church. A warm and friendly congregation started out with praise. Then the pastor came in, and the sermon today was about the story of Paul, the one who used to persecute and murder those who followed the way of the Christ, only to receive an experience, right? And it's recorded that it was a supernatural experience, very powerful, very intense, and that truth was received. And through the truth that was received in that experience, that man, Saul, became Paul and became a great author of the book of the Bible. So the point of the story that the pastor that shared this morning was that God uses those who seem unworthy, right? The black sheep, the one who doesn't fit in. God is still there for that one too. Wow. I didn't think there was a God for me for a long time. It's been a perfect story, man. Perfectly authored, perfectly created. This story of creation that we're a part of. I mean, if you look back on your life, I'm sure the evidence is perfect. It is perfectly designed to bring you to where you are today and who you are today. Your life is perfectly revealed for you. And we each get our challenges, we each get our blessings, and those blessings and challenges, they come and go. There's a time for every season, and for every season, there is a time. And so they say, sometime in the future, there would be a harvest, a harvesting of, or a separation, perhaps, a separation between the good and the bad, between those who know and those who don't. And the thing is this life is a crazy adventure. And so for you who are joining in today, um, please remember, subscribe, share, return next time. If there's folks in the chat who want to join, please do. I think the link to join should be pinned for those who want to join the panel. But the idea for today is, I guess the message that I want to offer is some hope, some faith. See, because it takes faith and hope for us to push our minds, right? The biggest trick and the biggest key, the tip I want to offer to you, being human, the biggest challenge, it's in our heads. It's understanding that tool, that gift, that receiver of thought. Yes. God bless. I'm not paying too much attention to chat or the comments. Thank you, Moose. But and thank you for those who are here and participating. The faith and the hope I want to offer, though, I don't know the right words to say because I don't know what anyone wants to hear. And this is kind of where I've been struggling in my own adventure. And here, where I was going with that invitation to like, subscribe, and join is
Stop,
Moose.
stop, stop, stop. Okay, I'm here to tell you, good sir, that what we're here to talk about is we're here to reflect, right? We're here to what's the topic of today? Holy shit, I'm the one who did it.
Sunday reflections. Thank
Reflections,
you.
yeah. We're here to reflect, brother. So uh let's let's not make it too complicated. How about let's reflect on this last week? How has your last week been going?
Golly geez. Thank you, Moose. Getting me back on track and topic. Hey, last week, as far as the Jack Talcott story, it has been amazing. For those who have maybe new to what's going on here, Moose, who was just here, he's my business partner. This is a business, what we're doing. Our business is to influence this world. Um, maybe it's a little unsaid in what we're offering, but I know that our efforts are to create a better world, not only for ourselves and our families, but a better world for everyone, right? And that's why we're all here. I didn't, well, it took me a lifetime to humble myself to that possibility that maybe God does have me here for a purpose. Maybe it's greater than the purpose that I used to believe. Maybe the purposes I used to believe in, all the things I learned and all the choices I made, maybe they were just preparing me to be me. Because me today over the last couple of weeks, if I reflect honestly, it has been challenging, but it has been fun. It has been fun. I think Moose and I were getting our stride together and we're figuring out our balance, he's got some creativity and some talents that I don't. And and I just have perspectives that well, I think are worthy to share. And for those who are tuning in today or at a later time, again, thank you. The point I was trying to get at is this live without fear. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that I've received, and I'm encouraging you to receive that as well for yourself. The idea, the thought, what would it mean for you? What if you lived without fear? And don't take this wrong, fear exists. And I encourage people, don't place yourself in denial. Where should I go, Moose? Live without fear or to the back reflections? I'm bouncing topics again here, but the um the live without fear is no joke. If you can instill that into your mind of fear exists, lots of things exist in this realm, in this experience of time and life. So don't go into denial about fear, but choose choose what controls you. The choice I made for myself a long time ago is just what I'm explaining now, that I know fear exists, but fear is an absence of faith. And if I want to allow myself an absence of faith, if I want to allow myself confusion and uncertainty, what good is that? Right? So, even in times of uncertainty, even in times of, you know, well, there are dark times, we can move forward without allowing the fear to hold us back, because behind the fears, behind our insecurities, behind the discomfort, holy cows, man. Holy cows, that's where your talents are hidden. That's where the pleasures are at. The release of overcoming fear, that strength, that memory, that confidence that's built within you. Holy cows, man. Hey, Jilly's Jewels, stay grateful. Fear and gratitude cannot coexist in the same moment. Amen. And if you can program your mind, I'm telling you, this human life, it's a mental game. It's a spiritual battle being conducted within the minds of each of us. And our time here is what is so important. Your time is the most important thing in your life. And so what are you going to spend your time on? You're going to spend your time and energy on that which occupies space in your mind. And so um hmm, so the idea is recognize that every moment you get to choose. You get to choose until you give your choice away. And if you want to choose to be fearful, guess what? You're going to give away a lot of your control, your emotional power, your will. It's all going to go away with if you want to choose to live in fear. But if you want to be grateful, man, if you want to be grateful for the challenges that life can bring, if you want to be grateful for the triggers that you feel, others bring you those triggers so you can feel yourself grow. Hey, speaking of, I think this is a great time, Moose. Oops. I tried to bring up a guest, but maybe, I don't know. Um, Gratitude and fear, right? We live in a realm of duality. The duality is only experienced through the progression of time, but the only time that ever is the eternal moment of now. It's like we are literally, I mean, I can explain these conclusions, okay, but and it can kind of it can it's a different way of seeing things for sure. And if you accept the perspectives I'm offering, it'll challenge your ego. It'll challenge your beliefs. It'll challenge what you think was important. It'll challenge what you thought was important. And in doing that, that challenges you because you are what you believe you are. But all that we are is spirits of consciousness and energies of love participating in an experience of stardust. Because so they say, Earth and all that is material generated from the elements produced from the energies of the sun, so they say. And then so they say that the earth grows our veggies, our animals. We are sustained by the love of creation. But in the end, all we are is just flickers. Each of us, you and me, and all the people that we know alive today, we were just flickers, flickers of life in the scope of time and space. And I do believe in the ball and the infinite space, by the way, for those who wonder. But I don't really care. I mean, should my life bring me to a point in my path where I have to make a decision based upon the shape of the realm we live in, if I have to make a decision based on the shape of our planet, I'll figure it out by then. But right now, all I care about is moving forward. Golly geez, Nubs. I hope that's a connection issue and not a personality conflict, but I don't think that is. I'm going to give it up and assume that was certainly just connections. And Nubs is welcome. All are welcome. I did extend an invitation on the private chat over at Paul and Slave this afternoon too. But you know, hey Moose, I'm actually comfortable too. We can keep this short as well if the topic doesn't get really brought out or shared. Um,
Hey, what's up?
Welcome, brother. How are you today?
I didn't come up to the thing like some bot.
You're roboting real bad. Tough connection today, Nubs. Not sure what's going on. I'm gonna put you in the back and we'll see if it catches up. Okay. Um, thank you, Nubs. Thank you for joining. And as I understood, you're not here for, I'm assuming, conflicts. I think you're here to join and to help. And let me say that clearly too. Each and every one of you, I love you. Seriously, if you're tuning in now, you're watching later, you're listening in your car at some point, I love you because you're part of my experience of being me. And that's the lesson I've learned for me is how to love being me. So I love you and I want you to love you too. This is the best advice. I shared this with Moose earlier. I don't know if he remembered or took it to heart, but I thought about the advice I gave. Enjoy being you with your family. Enjoy being you with your coworkers. Enjoy being you, at the store. Enjoy being you. Find out how to enjoy being you. And the best way to enjoy being you is gratitude, right? Gratitude is the key to happiness. Um, and happiness leads us to confidence. And confidence, dude, that'll bring you to efforts and achievement. And you know what? I shared this elsewhere, but this is the appropriate place to say it. Moose, I'm going to bring up the text I sent you. People may think I'm crazy, but all I say is what I know is within me. And today, I think I gained more clarity on who I am, what Jack Talcott is here to do. For those who want to know, for those who want to understand better for themselves, I can offer helpful perspectives and proven techniques on leadership, and I can share the experiences I've learned for myself that have helped me with my own spiritual development, things and people I've learned from regarding health. But my purpose is the Live Without Fear message. Um, it's been inspired within me to try and, I've said it before, uh, end wars and share that message of live without fear throughout humanity, throughout the world. But today, the clarity I received, what am I doing here on YouTube? Well, I'm learning from others who have risen to higher levels of achievement, greater levels of influence than I have yet. So I'm learning from those who came before me, and they're doing what I hope to do. But I actually hope to connect with, and any of you listening today or later who want to join in and try and help open some doors, please do. I'm hoping to connect with some of the influencers who have risen here on YouTube, other platforms, other venues. See, because the influencers, if I can help influence the influencers, well, then the world will quickly change. And that's the idea. We all influence each other and we all create opportunities or receive opportunities to influence different people. Um, but I believe this is our lifetime. I realized this a few years ago. This is my lifetime to live. And so if I'm going to live, I want the world to be a better place after I'm done. And I'd been slowly growing into doing that without realizing it. And it certainly wasn't intentional. I mean, I fought my path a long time. But, here's what I learned. God's got us here, right? We're like, you can look at it as you're trapped in your body until God relieves you of with mercy, right? You can look at it as though we live in hell, which we do. We can present the case. I can easily present the case for these words that we're prisoners in these human bodies here on earth, that this is hell, that we've all been deceiving ourselves, and this is punishment for what we've done in the past. I mean, there's a lot of religious and traditional messages, explanations along those lines, but there's another way of seeing things as well. And the way of seeing things that I'm trying to get across is recognizing nothing is better than you. That was the lyrics in one of the songs at church today. It was singing to the Lord, nothing is better than you. Well, the meanings of words are pretty important. So what is a Lord? Lord is a ruler. What is a ruler? One who directs, controls, sets the rules, picks the directions. If you're honest, you are the Lord of your life. You set your own rules. You choose when to obey. You choose when to repeat the patterns of the past. You choose. You choose. So if the Lord is me, is you, if we are the Lord of our lives, and God is always with us, the infinite mind, the infinite intelligence, and the Christed consciousness, the Christed Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the pure nature and essence of human is nothing. It's an essence. It's not the body. It's not the words. It is the experience, right? And so what makes you, you, what makes me, is what we do, of course. But what we do is going to be based off of what we think and what we feel. Well, the thoughts and the feelings are really non-form. They are nothing. And it is from nothing that all things emerged. The only thing I believe is real is God. We're only as real as the reality we experience, but the reality we experience is nothing more than constant change. And our experience is finite. There's a beginning and an end that's pretty clearly identified with birth and death. But in the end, if we are non-form and the true self is the consciousness of the observer, the conscious observer. I think Freedom Grower Dick, he calls it he says a term I love, but it's among the lines of the permanent sea or something like that. But that's what the divine is. God is all that is. Our time here, as we learn the truth, that is the truth that God wants us each to learn, because we're each we are each the result of the universe, containing the universe within us. And what we do with the universe within us and around us during our time is up to us. So I think. Because I think we can. I think we can, as I've said before, I think we can unite together build a community, and my new goals. My new goals, I want to become an influencer of influencers, and a new target for myself that I hope to achieve is a conversation with Klaus Schwab, those in the World Economic Forum. They seem to have quite a bit of influence in the direction of the future throughout the world. They're not limited by the nations so much. And really, the bankers are the ones who are pulling the strings on our political systems. And I don't know. I just think we can change things, man. Never made sense to me why the store was filled with products. I couldn't have any just because I couldn't find enough change. I mean, we live in a backwards world, man, and the sooner we realize it's backwards, the sooner we'll become more right. And what I believe we can do through the online community, through the YouTube, through your viewership, your participation, your support, if each person started sharing the ideas, hey, a better world is coming. Join in, we're going to create it. I think when we start doing that, there's enough connections, even though our subscriber count is growing, and thank you for those who are newly subscribed, and I hope that number continues to grow exponentially. And those who are tuning in, you can be a part of that. We're opening a space here for others to join in. Join in and share what you feel might be helpful. And so if you know other people who want a better world, maybe don't have ideas for themselves, that could be a place for this platform as well. You bring a few minds together with an intentional purpose of trying to get clarity on something. If someone wants some help with their goals, finding direction in their purpose, maybe overcoming just some temporary challenges. I'll get to that. This is a place where you're welcome. Hey, Chuck in Tennessee, please feel free, click the link. You're welcome to join. What I meant by business partnership is this isn't like a hobby for me. The business partnership, I've been very vocal about my intentions and purpose to live without fear. I think some great things can be accomplished with that, and I know my ideas. Moose and I have talked about a few things, but we're young in this development. But man, I see when the world discovers, when God allows the right people to learn, then what is being offered and created here, it won't just be in my head as much. It'll be quite visible. But I envision building the Live Without Fear into kind of a, lack of a better word, an empire. A place that people can go to for inspiration regarding mental, emotional, and physical improvement, where it can be a place where they can go to connect with other people who are doing a lot of good things regarding information. God has blessed me in ways that are clear to me. God has blessed us all in different ways, but what I have has, my eyes have been open, man. I don't know how else to say it. My mind has been blown. My heart has been, well, it was crushed, but then it's been filled. John Vance, welcome, brother. Good to have you here again.
Good to be back, Jack.
Blessings.
What have you been up to?
We were talking about that a little bit earlier. I see the happy EID on your under your name. I
Yeah,
don't remember what that stands for or what it means. You
it's just
comfortable
Eid.
sharing that?
It's the last day of Ramadan.
Is that
Well,
today?
Ramadan, it was a couple days ago, but yeah, that's what they do. Eid. It's
Okay.
just Arabic for feast. I think. I don't know. I have to look it up, but it's just basically a last day of Ramadan of fasting. So I'm not fasting anymore. So I'm getting I'm getting my energy back up and normally functioning again. But alhamdulillah, it's given me a new perspective on things. I still struggle with some challenges because it seems like endless challenges come my way, and it's like I almost get discouraged sometimes. So you seem to be a good psychologist in this aspect. So yeah, I don't know. Just sometimes I just feel like everything's just against me, and it's just like there's nothing I can do that I can ease. But I don't know. But part of it is like I've meditated on this idea of the idea of being comfortable of being uncomfortable and and toying with that idea too. So um I guess there's that aspect too. So yeah, there's just some personal things I'm just dealing with right now. So but hopefully I can get some stuff rolling this spring and summer, and and keep going. Like there's a saying that in Rocky of like it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up. You can fall down like 7 times, but if you get back up 8, you win. So half the battle is just showing up. So try not to get overwhelmed.
See, John, you know the answers. You're right. And let me just offer you encouragement and reminders. Okay? Because hey, what you were honest, and many people we're all going through our own challenges at different times and at different ways. But yeah, brother, if I can be of support here or privately, I hope you know I'm available. So
I appreciate that, Jack.
the but what you were saying too about getting up, right? Brother, that is a lesson I've learned myself. And so I want to remind you of that as well. Doesn't matter. Does not matter how many times you get knocked down. It's your job, your opportunity, your privilege to get back up in the face of the naysayers, in face of the accusers, in the face of all the challenges we can bring on ourselves. But to get back up, we got to have that why. And the why,
Mm.
sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that. And hey, brother, what you were saying about, you said something and my mind went to the fast is a way, right? You're establishing discipline. It's a way of challenging, being comfortable with the discomfort. You, good job. You're already doing it, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
so that's my challenge, but um yeah, I like your adage of that we have to have a why in order to get back up. So I guess my why is being a servant of God, of source, and all this worldly stuff is temporary. Even if we get angry or upset about our challenges, it's only temporary, and there's a greater reward in the hereafter or in this lifetime or whatever, the limited rewards we get in this lifetime. But as they say, so above as below. So what is in heaven shall be done in down below as well too, or on earth.
I love that you said this. Thank you, John. I
Yeah.
mean, these conversations are inspiring, and I appreciate
Thank you.
what you were saying. It damn it.
Because humans can be like assholes sometimes. Like I just feel like people are just scolding me, and it's like they want to get stuff done. They're attached to this world, and it's just like and I just have to like they're on their journey and I accept what they are, but sometimes I just have to step back and reflect. I don't know if you have any insights on that, but
I please, a lesson I started working with myself on is reminding myself that my disappointment, my anger, my frustration, those all came from my opinions. And what I think many of us do, I think we all have the tendency to carry more weight on our shoulders than what is really ours, right? The state of the world is unbearable, economic situations are unbearable. We want the best for the people we know. There's a lot of we can self-impose and imagine a lot of responsibilities on ourselves, which can be noble, but it can also be very, well, it can be challenging. So I
have you heard of
encourage,
this saying is if you try to save the world, you'll need saving as well too? Have you heard of that saying before?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's
I kind of meditate on that sometimes too.
Here's where I'm at, John, is that my faith has grown to places where I didn't think it was possible. The idea of surrender,
Oh
surrender
yeah.
to the faith that there is a higher power, that I don't have to know all the details, that I just have to be me. That's the only thing I have to do is to be me. And that's the same thing for you.
Yeah.
But then this society, this world has taught us it takes a lot of things for us to be. You need all the material resources and food and health and whatever, but we actually don't need nearly as much as we convince ourselves. And when we don't need, well, fuck, then you're abundant, you're grateful. So, John, this is where I've been practicing. I don't have the wealth, I don't have the abundance. Um, I did mention it. I don't, maybe it wasn't on this stream, but I did say that I live today in the now, attentive. I try and pay close attention to everything that comes into my day because the Father, God, speaks through signs, times, through all things. So I try and pay attention, but I live today with my mind and my energy state, my emotions. I try to keep that in a place of success, envisioning. I've already in my head, I don't know exactly what it looks like, but I've already achieved conversations, World Economic Forum, UN, US government. It's already happened in within me. Now, whether it comes to reality or not, well, that's on God. I just have to focus on now. Make sense? So it's like a a twofer, but the way I used to live, and I think the way many people live, is with what I call the monkey mind, right? It's always chattering, it's always reminding, always telling us stuff. And that monkey mind takes over when we're jumping back and forth between the past and the future. But we've been brainwashed, John. Everyone needs to cleanse their brain by unlearning what they were taught. I give it up to God. This is God's game, right? We're participants, we're players, we're characters. It's like a lifelong RPG, a role playing game where, I don't know how much say we had in the character we chose, but I think we chose to be here. I don't know.
I guess maybe a personal problem I have is I ingest other people's energies, um, and it seems like I'm carrying their burdens on me. It's like every person I interact with, like what's going on in the background is I'm carrying their burdens with them. Either, they have a lack, and like before I was okay, and then when I start interacting with these people, it's just like, oh my god, now I have all these burdens, and I'm just stressed out, and it's like, and I guess I like to honor my word, and I'm starting to realize how much work that is to honor your word. It's like,
Hey,
holy crap, man. But because I
John,
made some declarations on paper, and I'm like, oh, I better follow that through. And now it's like, holy crap, that's a lot of work to do. So there's that aspect as well.
John, I love what you said and thank you. What you're sharing, I mean, you're opening up. Thank you for doing this. You're
Yeah, no problem.
describing what I think many people are feeling. Now, the way you described yourself, first off, have you heard the term empath by chance?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know, I don't really label myself, but I see the tendency and I see that possibility to really, and I know there's other people identify as empaths and they get affected by energies. It does happen, John. So your awareness, that's a
some
key,
some
brother.
people would say it's some form of autism, or like
Yeah.
or because your filters are off. Like I've heard of one guy describe it like, well, because your filters are off, you're feeling energies, your filters are supposed to filter out. So sometimes I do feel that way.
Hey, actually, that's going to be part of your development. Some people are more in tune to picking up on the subtleties and energies of others.
Yeah,
But part of that balance, though, is it's up to you, John, to recognize when those feelings are yours and when they're someone else's, and then develop within you. Once you can discern it, then you can just ignore. You may feel
mm,
the energies, but you just know they're there. So it's like, fuck, whatever, they'll pass. Does that make
right.
sense?
Yeah, because I guess the problem is once these energies enter into, I guess you say, my space, that I feel an urgent need to rebut. Hi Provo Kid. I feel an urgent need to rebut, and this is where my inner conflict is sometimes, I guess, or conflict with others, I guess. But it's almost connected to inner conflict within myself, because I'm letting these energies in that I've gone away with personally for a while now in my life anyway. But it's just my interactions with people. I just have a hard time. I don't know. I guess the other is I just don't want to let people down and honor my word. But the other is there's that conflict there. I'm just trying to always rebut it all the time. But it just seems like, well, how am I going to function like this?
Hey,
I
hey,
need a new
John.
functioning set to these negative energy, how to deal with these negative energies.
John, you are in the perfect place. Let me tell you that. Okay. And not just here at this moment, but perfectly as you. Trust that the divine, it's been preparing you perfectly. You're asking the right questions. And one of the things you brought up is something I've been working on myself. And Provo, I don't mean to put you off, brother. God bless. Thank you for joining. I don't hear you, brother. I'll have you check your.
How's that? Is that better?
There
Hey,
you go.
this
Okay.
is a beautiful conversation you two are having. Don't let me step in. Just keep going, John Vance. You're. I love what you're saying.
Thank you, brother. Hey, what I wanted to get to was you said that conscious intention to make sure you follow through with your words. It takes extra work, right? It
Yeah,
it it takes attention, the willingness, the commitment to make sure that your words are truthful. And we are the only ones who can make sure we follow through with our words. So The tip I'm offering is what I've been working with myself. Learning when to speak less. Not every thought, not every energy or thought has to be offered and shared. So figure out what's good for you. Welcome, Flow State Provo Kid. Please.
What's up, fellas?
Welcome.
Good to see you, Flow State.
Good to see you too.
Flo, you just showed up. We were talking about some of the challenges of being a human. How to overcome, the feeling of disappointment, either disappointment from others or disappointment from ourselves. Am I right? That's kind of where we were at, John, right?
Yep.
Those
Yep.
topics. Yeah.
And we getting anywhere?
I actually feel like we are. I really do. Part of that.
This is better than therapy.
Actually,
and it costs half the price too. So
yeah.
I'll be sending you a bill later, by the way.
Hey, actually, we've really, in my opinion, we've overcomplicated this counseling and therapy stuff too, because really, all that process is someone who cares to try and help you articulate what's within you so you can better understand. Any good friend could clumsily get through that, but holy cows, man, that human ego is a tricky SOB. Let me tell you, man. It's like finicky and wants perfection, and
I always feel like boring. Therapists are lying to themselves, and there's like when I was there, like I don't know, it was like a handful of years back. It almost felt like this guy was like challenging me or like judging me for some of my views. But with you, Jack, you just kind of accept it, and you just like, we'll agree to disagree, and let's get to what's really going on. So,
I judge you for some of your views, but you would know that already.
That's fine.
Well, this is the interesting thing. It used to piss me off, right? This thing about humans, because everyone's got a different perspective, everyone's got a different opinion. You know what? I'm the only one who knows what's right for me. That's how ignorant I was, and it's still true. But the reality is, man, I've learned so much by shutting my mouth. Okay? Shutting my mouth and being more selective in what I offer myself to do. This might be where the conversation with John was coming from too, is that I do choose more carefully when I say I'm going to do something, simply because I don't like that feeling of guilt. I don't like the feeling of betraying my word or letting others down or disappointing others. None of us do, I don't think.
I try never to commit to anything like that or promise anything. I try to keep other people's expectations low so that I over deliver and they're left with a good experience instead of over promise. And then
that's the idea. But the other side to that, though, too, is the reality of this dynamic, right? The dynamic of trying to share information but capture attention, right? And if you don't shine in some aspect, it's easy to get pushed out of the crowd. But
there's a balance. I mean, I'm too far the other way. Like, until I realized how obnoxious I was, I wouldn't even commit to people are trying to schedule stuff. They're like, Taylor, can you be there this day? I'll be like, I don't know. Go ahead and do your thing and I'll show up if I show up, which is also wrong, but just the other direction.
I went through that myself too. So I know what you're saying. But then again, the past 5 years have been interesting for me. Not many people have invited me anywhere, so it's pretty easy not to commit.
Well, you're invited to my
Yeah.
house anytime you're in Kansas City.
Hey, thank you, brother. I'd love to visit Kansas City. I don't think I ever made it there. Provo, what's new with you, man? You're cooking, you're schooling.
Yeah,
I
I'm actually developing I'm creating a new YouTube character, Jack. I'm in the middle of kind of just getting the final touches on. Pretty excited. Everybody knows Provo Kid, but I'll just let everybody in on I'm making a new thing. It's going to be Provo King, right? Provo Kid's growing up.
Congratulations on that promotion.
Thank
I'll
you.
make sure I unsubscribe and dislike.
This actual channel, I've been inspired by other people, and I'm going to tell people to subscribe because I'm the king. So
Yes.
that people must obey and they must subscribe and like. And the channel will probably grow faster than anything I've ever seen before. That's my underlying assumption. So, Jack, you've inspired me with your creativity. So has everybody else here you've interacted with. So, looking forward to that new release. But you asked me a question. That's the answer, Jack. How about you? Anything new going on in your life? I see you got kind of a new setup. I don't see Brother Moose here. Are you without a producer today or? No, he's
No,
here.
he's here, man. He's
Wow.
running, he's doing it in the back, and he's allowing me to shine where I want to be, right? It's working out pretty beautifully, I think. And along the lines of what you're doing, I don't know if we're reinventing, but we are, brother, I want to learn from you, and I continue learning from you just from the influence and the creations you offer. Um, that's kind of what I want to get into more is some of the shorter video production as well. And I think Moose has already got the stuff working. So expect some good things, some cool things coming forward from us as well.
I like that. And not to kind of guide where you're going with everything, but Jack, some of the best conversations I've seen from you are one-on-one. Like with you and John Vance, it was just a beautiful flow, great conversation. You touched on empathy, you touched on like just a lot of building. It was a garden of a conversation. I really digged it. Looking forward, I'd like to see maybe, Jack reach out, to other people, maybe have more one-on-one sit downs, maybe open it up to a panel later. But I just really dig you, and you kind of tap into somebody else's mind. What are your thoughts?
Brother, thank you. We're on the same page. This is what I mean, brother. I think there's something to our paths crossing. Because that's the same direction I'm thinking. I'd love to have, and actually, credit to John. John is a cool dude who's willing to open up and allow, a dynamic conversation like that. And yes, we are working on getting some guests. I think it's going to happen.
I was just going to say that I actually agree with that assessment. I like your one-on-one conversations are good material. I'm kind of self-sacrificing by saying that because I also love open panels where I can just I'm eating some ribs and it's like, oh cool, I'll go talk to these dudes and eat some ribs. But yeah, I agree.
I'm actually looking to find a nice balance in there somewhere because I want to do it all. I'm not dumb and not going to spread myself in too many directions, but if we can bring a lot of ideas and a lot of concepts together smoothly, yeah, that's where we're going, and I think it's going to happen.
It's beautiful. And I also, I like when you do tap into other people's broadcasts, whether it be Paul or, Lauren De Laguna, or when you reach out to other people's shows and kind of, it's almost becoming vulnerable in some sense when you go into somebody else's platform and seeing that side of you, I enjoy as well. So, I'm all for content on the Jack Talcott network, but if you ever go on somebody else's show, please post a community tab link so I can find my way there as well, brother.
Great offer. Thank you, brother. That's a great suggestion. Holy cow. See, this is what I love. Where are you guys at? Can I offer any brainstorming? You guys got projects? I mean, Provo, you kind of mentioned some stuff, but It sounds like you got a good track on that, and I couldn't even think to offer anything.
Well, I'm still working it out. So as soon as it gets up off the ground and running, we'll have more to work with. But what about Flow State? John Vance, do you have content you cook up or
I'm still trying to
what's
get my YouTube channel back. So my project is paperwork and off YouTube. So I apologize. I can't contribute much in that area right now. I have a backup channel, but you know, I'd rather get my old channel back, and then maybe once I get my old channel back, I'll like, kind of describe the process and how to get your channel back, because I have a feeling it's going to be a dogfight, because I've been messaging the YouTube uh, person back and forth, and I tried appealing, and then like 15 minutes later they'll say, "Well, we're sticking with your appeal." With the original decision of spam and deceptive practices, and they won't point to any particular videos or anything like that. So, let's just say I'm preparing some legal documents. I'm going to send them email and fax without prejudice and non-combative, of course, but to assert my rights.
beautiful? I
Sorry,
think
that's
no,
my
no, it's
that's on
good.
my
That's
path.
good.
So I apologize. That's why I said that's why I don't have much. I did have content, and then so I'm going to get it back, and then I'm going to go through the process and how you can scare these people, I guess, or assert. I guess the proper terminology would be assert your rights. I'm going to send them some affidavits of the fact, and then if they hopefully they respond, and if not, if they don't respond, I do have documents for that as well too, affidavit of default, and then we just go from there. So that's basically my game plan. And so it's a lot of legal and dry stuff. That's what I'm working on. Nothing you guys would be, oh, this is exciting. It's like, no, it's a lot of dry content, but
Hey,
that's what I guess I can contribute to.
hey, John, as a friend,
Yeah.
I'd like to offer you um, choose how much effort you want to put into what. Okay, I mean, I
Okay.
get what you're saying, but life is life, and maybe it's just a sign there's better value or better purpose for your time. Who knows? And I'm
Oh,
not telling
maybe.
you what to do, but
Maybe you're
what do you,
right. Yeah.
What kind of case? Sorry, I had to go find the smokes. What's your legal thing, real quick?
I'm gonna send the legal team some of my affidavits. So
But what do you
affidavit of the fact. I'm gonna
affidavit?
go through the community guidelines and
Oh,
which.
about your channel.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, this is a tip too, actually, in line with where I was going with the choosing your battle. Something I've really been spending more time considering for myself. As you're doing stuff, ask yourself, what other options are there? What else could I be doing? Where else
Mm.
could I be? Because sometimes we just get into these ruts, into these habits. Oh, I got to go to this store. I got to go do this. And we don't even think. If we stop and think, you know, these human minds are absolutely fascinating. Something I recognized earlier today as well. After church, I went for a drive, took some different streets I haven't traveled on for a while. It's my hometown. I know my town. I know the streets. I know everything, but there's different construction, there's different things going on. And what I noticed is as I took a different route than I normally travel, it brought up different memories. And those different memories brought up different new ideas because it's a different time and a different place. So I went on and on there, but the point I was trying to get, this is your life. This is our life. Have fun being you. Figure out what is new for you, what direction you want to go, and always wonder, what else could I be doing?
I think I think the other route home is fantastic. Like everybody should do that. I actually just did it like an hour ago. Ended up buying a lawnmower.
Wait, because of the different route,
Well,
or you?
I mean, it was kind of, yeah. I mean, but my area, we've got a Panasonic battery plant going in like 2 miles away from me. Huge, huge development. So there's a lot of stuff going on around me, which has good and ups and downs. But yeah, I actually, ever since that deal went through, I've been doing that exact thing, taking different ways home regularly.
I like Jack. When you think about doing something different, I think people have hesitation because it brings challenges, right? Like doing something different almost immediately requires a sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
Sacrifice. So, I mean, when you get, I think, more comfortable with being able to sacrifice things, maybe it's time, maybe it's your energy, or maybe how you feel about that situation, right? You might not feel good about exercising, right? But if you sacrifice how you feel about, like, oh, maybe walk, like my idea is just going out for a walk outside's exercising, right? And if you just break the door with that, I think you can find yourself at the end of it saying, those preconceived thoughts I had, fears, right? They were invalid, right? And Jack, I want to get your opinion on this. I heard somebody bring up the word fear. They were playing these semantic word games, right? And they said the first part in the word fear is fee, right? Because you have to pay a fee to have the fear, and the fee, I think, is your attention, right? Without attention, I don't think you really have fear. But what are your thoughts on that, or anything I just said regarding the challenges to doing something new, right?
Brother, thank you. I love that because you're absolutely right. The idea of doing something new or different than what we've done means breaking out of what we're comfortable with. And it seems scary. And that origination of fear, fear does, it comes at a cost. That actually is a good description. I resonate with that fear, false evidence appearing real. Um, and what I remind myself when I feel fear, it just means that I don't know. It means that I lack knowledge, I lack understanding, I lack the solution, but it's a mind game. I'm a child of God. I lack nothing except maybe the right perspective.
And that UN date.
And the date with the UN. I don't know if you heard earlier, Klaus Schwab and his those who influence him, that novel Harari or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Have you
that
guys
guy.
seen him talking about how we've reached? I mean, it's right in front of our faces, man. These these guys are counseling Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, advising him that, hey guys, we finally reached that point where the dictators don't actually have to rule with iron and force anymore. We're just humans are programmable. So we're just gotta, we just gotta place some towers around, send some different frequencies out, put some different stuff in the food, tell them on the news that this new chemical in their bloodstream is a good idea. Holy shit, man.
But I think they're a psyop. Like that's the conclusion I've come to. And I've been watching them since before they became a thing, because I've got an economics background. And it's just too much, right? Like if you were gonna make a supervillain, can you think of anybody better than Klaus Schwab? I mean, I don't know, it just feels too overt for me to think it's
Dude,
real and not just a distraction.
that's the point. We got to get over that and start accepting this shit is actually real.
I mean,
I mean, the
I
creator.
don't disagree with what they're saying. I think that what they're talking about is real stuff. I think they're not the actual entity moving the pieces.
Well,
That's just my
agreed.
belief.
I mentioned this recently, and here I'm quite open. I'm a man of faith these days. And this explanation made sense to me, that we are divinely created beings with free will, and we live in a realm of light and dark. and there are supernatural energies. There's conscious beings of consciousness that maybe we don't see or sense, but these beings of consciousness, they support and or feed off of us. We contain the divine light. The source of the divine light is within us, but when we drop down to negativity, to the darker realms, well, I've heard that term loosh, that these demons or whatever, they feed off of our energies because it's a distortion of the light, and it makes sense. But the point I was getting at is in the development of humanity and the course of our lands, the idea of God and spirituality was kind of shoved to the back door, and everyone started focusing on the material reality, the material science, the material economics. We became material girls, right? But
I mean,
yeah,
do you guys know what the law of entropy is?
Yes.
I don't
So
remember.
there was obviously, like, with the law of entropy, like, when you have something in motion, you get a certain amount. When you invest a certain amount of energy into something, you get something back. But what you have is a law of diminishing returns. So when something is cycling, right? You know, it, the it doesn't matter how much energy you put into it, you're always going to get less back. And so it's almost like now modernity has reached its kind of endpoint. Liberalism has kind of reached its endpoint, and now we kind of, liberals have described us as living in the end of history. Like there's no more to be discovered. We'll just have all the endless soaps that we can choose from. Uh, we're never we're never going to have anything really meaningful. Like we don't need God anymore. We don't need to worship or anything like that or fast. We've got all the amenities, everything you want. Why would you complain, right? And so people are now grasping at, like, because obviously humans are spirit driven. I believe, like, like in Maslow's hierarchy, it says that, you have to have your base needs met before you self actualize. But why haven't we discussed the why? Because there's people out there, like, they could feed themselves, but they don't, because they don't have a why anymore. And this is what we're talking about, getting back up. And you mentioned that we have to have a why. And so I think purpose is
Well, hold on. Let me
even more
challenge that.
important need than food itself, as controversial as that may be.
I've never
I'd
heard of
agree.
anybody starving to death just out of apathy. I mean, I guess I have, but I read a lot of books in jail about concentration camps. But it's incredibly rare, like hugely rare.
Possibly, but admittedly, I tried drinking myself to death out of apathy, so I could see that. And if
But
and
that's a
if I may,
self-destructive. I mean, that's a little different. But go ahead.
if I may, the John reminded me of where we did want to go earlier with the why, the purpose, right? Once we identify a why within us, why do we get up every day? Why do we do what we do? Then, man, it gets easier to get back up. Where I was going with the long-winded story of spirituality, though, too, is that in this world, and I'm speaking from experience, when we don't bring God into our lives, the idea of a loving creator, when we don't bring that into our lives, I think that does open it up for dark entities to feed these dark ideas. And, you know, I used to think like Bill Gates along the lines of overpopulation, and we needed to do some drastic stuff to reduce the parasitic growth of humanity. So I understand I understand the perspective of many of these people, but I feel they've been misguided and they've misled themselves. Klaus Schwab, people of our well, many people in the world have fallen under the realm of deception and living in a delusion. So my why, the reason I get up every day, once I convinced myself, hey, I convinced myself that somehow there was a way from where I sat in Spokane to try and change the world, to try and end wars and confront the crappy system of government that we've been allowing. Once I convinced myself that it was possible, every day I go to bed telling myself, fuck, well, you tried to change the world, Jack. And I do. Every day I get up with a purpose and intention, like Pinky in the Brain. Remember that cartoon?
Yeah.
What are we going to do today, Brain? Same thing we do every day. Find a way to take over the world.
So I just want to be clear. Which one am I?
Pinky or the brain?
You must be Pinky. I think. Holy cow.
How do you view yourself as Pinky?
I don't think he does. But you know what?
Nobody would does.
At least I'm no longer alone. I've got Pinky with me now. Now, dude, we're the rats escaping the cage, and we're gonna find the path and lead all the other rats to freedom and safety. And they'll just have to, I don't know.
Worship us when we're done?
No, God,
Oh.
no. God, no. That's the whole point.
Okay.
We
My bad.
can get
I'm still
over
working.
the-
I'm still working on the spirituality thing, I guess.
Here, we can get over the celebrity and the authority nonsense all at the same time. Once we realize we're all brothers and sisters, we're all children of the same divine, similar experiences, but they're all quite different. But the entropy is a word and a process I'm not clear on, but there's the other side of bringing the frequencies together. When our frequencies of thought and desire, when our intentions come together as people, just like with harmonics, you get a harmony and then there is a synergy and the movement and what we can create. I think it'll blow people. Well, it's the way it works. We're going to surprise people, and the people who have not yet discovered us in this small little circuit of YouTube creators and inspirers that I've discovered, I think there's something cool going on. We're all part of it.
I mean, even if nobody discovers us, like think about just how cool it is that for the first time ever in human history, you can put something out that's accessible to the entire world just like that for free. That's really the biggest reason I have a channel at all, is because that's a phenomenal capability that we take for granted.
It really is.
I also do it for the money. That $100 check has been nice.
What got you into this, Provo? I know you probably shared your story, but how did you end up on these with
YouTube?
Yeah.
I was just wanted to make I was in a position of educating youth, and I grew up where people said you can't make money playing video games, right? I was a child of the 90s, and fuck, were they wrong. When I was in college, video game players or whatever were making millions of dollars while I was paying to get educated. I actually had a scholarship, but so then, I get in a position to educate young minds, and I don't want to make the same mistake, my teachers made by, telling kids there's no career on YouTube. So, I created a YouTube channel, and basically the first videos were book reviews. I would just review all the books I read. And then I did yoga videos. What else did I do? I read books out loud. I read books silently. I just tried to model behavior I wanted people to do. Obviously, I got no subscribers or views. And then I did a podcast. And then I streamed the podcast, right? I had no clue about streamers, people like this or whatever. And I had nobody watching my show. So I just talked to myself for an hour every day. Then I met a couple streamers. And they introduced me to panels and talking to other people, and that's kind of where I'm at now. But I just started by trying to create content that inspired people to do something other than the basic shit they would do. And I thought all the shit that people uploaded on YouTube was, I don't know, whatever. But that's why I'm here now. It's a long journey. It's been about 4 years on the streets, they say.
That's actually not very long considering some of the quality I've seen coming out. I mean, I love that story though too. It was to show the kids that what you were told wasn't possible is possible. That's kind of what I got, right?
Yeah, and I had contention with other teachers who would discourage, like, oh, YouTube, like I would hear like YouTube's not a job, because kids would say, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be a Twitch streamer, and teachers would that I would interact with would kind of shoot that down, and I didn't like that, so I would be the opposite and say, like, I think you could do it if you really want to be a YouTuber. It's hard work, right? You got to actually make videos, create content, and do something. Um, but I think, it is a career path, as crazy as that sounds. Just like playing video games sounded like a crazy career path when I was a kid. And now, those people are, some of them are millionaires, but wild stuff. YouTubers are, right. Like, there's a few millionaire YouTubers as well. So it is an actual career these days. And I think some people still look at YouTube like, old people used to look at video games and say, and maybe for some people, there's no utility. They don't get anything out of it. For people who are willing to try to get something out of it and work at it like they would any job, I think there is something there at the end of the day.
I agree. I love it.
Yeah.
I would suggest though that it's not a good long-term aspiration. There's no reason that anybody who wants to be a YouTuber shouldn't be making content already right now.
Agreed. Yeah. And YouTube content could be anything you're interested in. Maybe you're like a world traveler, right? Maybe not everybody, I think the wide array that's potential. Maybe you show people how to build houses outdoors with natural supplies. I mean, and people make really successful channels off of that. But I think what, to Flow State's point, yeah, I agree in part to that too.
Can I address that? Joe, cool. I didn't start my that's like the main component of the whole thing that I think is the biggest incentive for me to continue on. I actually started my first channel as a tax write-off.
Oh, cool.
Because I just upload little review videos on, $100 knives I'd buy, and then I deduct it off as business expense because my YouTube channel wasn't making any money. So actually, I started YouTube for very selfish reasons.
That's funny. More similar to what Provo was saying is, well, no, actually, what you were saying too. I saw the potential, right? The potential of reach and communication and sharing ideas. I saw the potential of connecting with others, and that's what got me out here. My goal is to be a positive influence to the world. As my value is received in the world, I expect, I understand that's the laws of exchange, with energies. We put value out, the world will return value. And that's where our focus, Moose and I, we've talked about this, where our focus is going to remain is trying to put out value, content that people may receive. What do you think? Thoughts, brother?
Go ahead, John. You haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a unique time to be alive. There's been, things that I was pretty sure about. Now I'm not so sure about. And I don't know. Maybe this is why I have this issue of, because of past commitments I made before. Now these commitments, I don't know if I can make them anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I maybe it's just that I'm going through an identity shift. I'm not quite sure, but I'm just very I'm very confused on what direction I need to go, because I thought I was really going through life, and then I feel like I just fell off a cliff, and now I'm just floating through the air, and I don't know where I'm going to go.
How old are
Hey,
you?
John,
32.
That's why.
Yeah.
that could be part of it. That time, that age in the timeline, there may be something with that. But hey, John, that's a tough space to feel. Okay, and it's not abnormal, right? You're not alone, and hearing that shit doesn't really help. I remember that. You're
Oh,
dealing with darkness and despair. Well, you're not alone. Others deal with it too. Yeah, fuck off. Not right now.
yeah.
Hey, it's normal to feel that way, but you're in the right spot. What I was wondering is if you're feeling this transition and this change, maybe the answer is just to allow, to stop resisting and just kind of allow yourself to ease into the uncertainty. And through that, as you allow yourself to feel more grounded in the uncertainty, remind yourself that there's answers for everything, every question we've got, the questions we haven't even thought of yet. There's answers. It's just a matter of timing. So trust your spirit is guiding you. This is the path that's made for you. And I do believe, honestly, I do believe that we've got a loving God that wants the best for us. And what is the best for each of us? Who knows? We'll find out when it happens.
Jack, those words really resonated with me. I'd like to allow John Vance, because you were speaking to him, to respond if he has anything to say. But I'd like to chip in after, respectfully.
Yeah. I guess Joel Cool said what commitments. I guess like my political activism, because that's my that was my go-to. That was my bread and butter for a long time, and since after COVID, seems like a Christ-like event almost. Um, I'm just in this weird space I've never experienced in my life before. It's, like I understand like being a teenager and like trying to discover your identity. That's one thing, but this is just like I don't know what to do now, because everything that we've been taught is not really congruent towards the times we live in right now.
Keep going.
So, like
Keep going.
Jack was saying, like you have to deprogram yourself, and a lot of this subconscious shit. It's messy. It sounds kind of insane or stupid to some people, but when you have some sort of self-awareness, you can shine on it. The best disinfectant is to shine a light on the darkness of your issues or subconscious, whatever you want to call it. So those who are self-aware will describe inadequacies that no one would dare, no normal person would ever venture even to think about sharing.
Yeah. John, I was worried about you down there, but I don't see you got your act together. You seem like you're good. I was worried, but no, it sounds like you got your answers and everything. Yeah, I feel better.
Like I said, I'm floating through air right now. I don't know. The wind can direct me into one way, and then the next day it's another way. And I don't know, but it's always it's towards the North Star. But it's just
right.
I could I could be an asshole one day. The next day I could be cool.
Hey,
that's
John,
how I am.
Can we let Provo pop in? We still got that thought. I'd like to.
I do. I was gonna do a callback to your previous appearance on another show today, where I think you were getting a bit chastised for belief in knowing, right? And what you just proposed was living in uncertainty, Jack, and that's the exact opposite of knowing. And that's a weird thing to tell someone, right? Hey, you should be in an uncertain place. And I actually agree with Jack 100% here, because knowing something doesn't allow you to move. Being uncertainty gives you paths, gives you options. So sometimes people are so caught up in knowing things, you know what, they stay stagnant because they know, if I move, things change. If I move, life gets difficult or whatever it might be. And so I just want to do a callback to you, Jack. Jack, sometimes knowing is the worst thing in life, right?
Oh.
Unknowing also gives you room for God's plan. There's another advantage to acknowledging that you exist in an unknowing state, because that opens a big door to follow God's plan and to recognize it and stuff. There's another benefit.
Amen. Provo, thank you for pointing that out. It's like partial truths can create total confusion, right? And so if we hang too much on belief or we hang only on known, the belief can take us off into la la land. And if we stay in what only that we know, what you just said, brother, we end up in this rut, in this comfort zone, quote unquote, that becomes
Is
a
there
prison.
anything to this? Then this is how my mind works. Is there anything to thinking that you know little to nothing? Is there an advantage to that?
Yes, that's actually this. It sounds so counterintuitive, these things that I've been learning and saying, but yes, stop believing you know. Because here's where I'm at. I can only know anything at the time, right? I can think I know, but if asked a question, whether I remember the answer and can recall it or not, I can do my best.
Right. I can't be like, I don't know what I said then, but I can tell you what I know now. Yeah.
Amen. But honestly, too, if you really pay close attention, when we get up in the morning, we don't know the conversations we're going to have. You run into someone, you don't know what words are going to come out of you.
Yeah.
We actually learn what we are and what we know as the time goes on, right?
Yes. The
So
time come what we know could change. For instance, I don't mean to change
you.
to fuck up your thought, but for instance, when I was a kid, I knew there were 4 oceans. Now there are 5. I knew there were 9 planets. Now there are 8. Then it went to 9 again. Things that you thought you knew. I knew the thylacine was extinct and so and so. Now a couple of them been found. So yeah.
It works like that in so many ways. I thought I knew this person, turns out they were quite different than what I thought,
Yes. Yes.
but that's what I came to realize is my memory used to drive me nuts. And really the fact is memories, they fail, and memories don't have the power of knowing.
So maybe
Maybe that,
memories are not knowledge. Well, I think that's what you're saying, but I thought that memories were knowledge. Now I'm questioning that.
this is something I've given a lot of thought to, and I haven't really had a chance to discuss this, so I appreciate it. Where I started looking at it is to become present in the now, you must be done with the past. And the way to be done with the past is to know it, right? You don't have to remember that which you know. And
Can I caution you? I'm sorry, but I'm scared to say you got to be done with it. I think it exists at all times, including now. You got to incorporate it. I'm sorry.
correct. There's no done with it. There's no absolute.
Yeah,
It's just
it's a part, just like now and tomorrow will be. It's a real thing. It exists.
It's a tool for the present.
There you go.
amen. Here, if this helps, I mentioned earlier the monkey mind, right? And jumping back and forth between the past and the future. We'll have an argument with someone or a problem with a coworker, and so we'll imagine in the future the repeat of that. We'll
Yes.
create all that nonsense. If we can focus on the now and allow we can learn from the past, but don't let the past control us.
Yeah.
And this is where
Well, hey, there's your incorporation. If you got to learn from it and not let it control you, that means you must incorporate it and have it as a tool and blah blah blah. So yeah, it is part.
Beautiful. Bring it in. Bring the past within you, so it's not separate. Not so it's
Yeah,
not like a distant part
yeah,
from you.
yeah.
Bring
That's
the
gone.
past
Forget about it.
into
Right,
you.
right.
I love that. Because
Bring it.
when we bring our feelings and our emotions close to us, when we can, all right, I'm angry, recognize I'm angry. All right, why am I angry? Is this a just cause or am I in my head? All right, you got a reason to be angry.
Is that
Took off,
true? Is
actually,
that true?
I took off the wrong way. Where I was trying to get with that is
I
if we
meant that
deny
reason to be angry. What reason would you ever have to be angry?
my expectations.
I don't know if those are good reasons. Though, feelings and emotions bullshit. I don't know if there's really a real reason to be angry. He wronged me. I don't know if that's the real thing.
Hey, brother, you're right. A
I'm
lot of
just throwing
times
it up. I'm not
it's an
just
excuse.
figuring shit out in my head. I'm not making any absolute statements here
No,
because I want you guys are smart. I want you guys to chime in. I'm
I
just
agree. We're
throwing shit
talking
around
this
in my
out.
head. Yeah.
Where I was going is with those emotions, sadness, even joy, if whatever, learn the emotions. When you feel the feelings, go within you. What is the result of this? A lot of times, the triggers of today, they're linked deep in our subconscious to some crap that happened with us when we
Yes.
were 4 years old.
Yeah, you see a fucking spider and you jump. You don't realize because you've been watching movies and the chick that raised you jump when she saw a mouse, and now you think
Spiders are freaky as fuck. I don't care what you say.
my
There's
girl
a
would agree with you.
there's a good reason to jump at a spider. I have my
I
girlfriend
don't
covered.
know. It just what I've
Sound
learned
like
is
my girl.
if I can get out of my head about the past and I know my feelings, I know what does trigger me, I know what
My man.
saddens me.
Yeah.
If I can look at my life from today and try to imagine and foresee, I can make steps to avoid the problems I can imagine. And more so, I can take the steps towards the future that I
Don't
want to
leave out.
realize.
Don't leave out that the reason that problem occurred in the first place wasn't so you could learn to avoid it. It was so you could overcome it and not let it affect you. So you can't just throw the problem out. And usually, the way we do it, get over a thing is we face it. If someone avoids you because of a thing and it's out of that fear shit you talked about earlier, then you face it and learn to overcome it, and you're better prepared for the next adventure.
Amen. Something I've heard from others and I've incorporated it myself as well. I encourage you guys. Life doesn't happen to us. Life doesn't happen for us. It happens through us.
I agree.
So actually the for is so that it can happen through us and for us. It doesn't happen to us.
I'm gonna mute
Locus of
so I can
control.
be sure to shut up because I was really enjoying listening to you cats. So I'm gonna mute for a while.
I have something to contribute here. There's been metaphysicians, meta psychologists, I guess you can call them. Sorry, I can't really speak. They said that there used to be the idea, like in the 1800s, that we were meant to experience this life and grow, and then pass through it, and then move on to the next realm. That used to be kind of like a known idea, but with this kind of industrial
Nice,
revolution and this,
nice.
yeah, like it's just we're here to pass through it, but we're here to learn and grow and mature in some way or fashion and form our character and then move on. This is what all the religions talk about, like the hereafter. You do this to mature, you do this to you fast, or you pray, or no, you do some self improvement, some self evaluation, and you improve yourself. And then when your time has come, you'll pass through, and then you'll go on to the next life, wherever that life may be, reincarnated or off to a different realm or heaven or whatever, right? And so I think really what the main gist of that kind of idea is that we don't get attached to what we have or what we've accomplished, because that's
All
what our
right,
ego does,
I can't remain
right? Our
quiet.
ego, like, I could think of things like, oh man, I really killed that. Like, I'm the best, or whatever, right? Like, that's your ego, like, pumping
Yeah.
the chest, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good experience to have, to grow. But if you get too attached to it, it could almost, like, they always say that pride is before the fall, right? So if you get too attached to your successes and who you are and the image that you have, you end up, disappointing yourself and disappointing other people, and eventually you fall
You're
down
making
rock
me
bottom.
think. You're making me
Yeah.
think that I'm even more believe even more that all of this is a plan then to keep us distracted. You can call it the devil, you can call it the oligarchy or whatever. It is very beneficial then to keep you distracted with shit, because it is antithetical to what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just a distraction. It's just like it's just a TV. It's just a puppet show, right? Like, it's for that. I've heard of, like, this the cue drop saying, "Well, grab some popcorn and enjoy the show." And as an activist, I was like, "What the fuck does that even mean? What do you mean, just sit down there?" But then, like, I kind of meditated on it a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just kind of a show. It's just a thing that's on the background that you really have nothing to do with. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't know, that we're not privy to. But the only
We're
thing
in
that
the
we
show
can
too,
control
though,
is how
right?
we conduct ourselves with those around us.
Yes, and
right?
those around us. Yes, that's our part in the show. We're not part of their clown shit. We didn't rehearse with them, but we play a role, whether it's audience and we get the type troll shit from the chat. We are part of that fucking that whatever you called it, the show.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to welcome Didi. Welcome back, brother. You've been kind of quiet, but you're always. It seems you're one of those guests that is quiet, but when you have something to offer, it's interesting. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, fellas? How's it going, Jack?
Good. What are your thoughts on this? We're kind of getting into the territory you and I had covered before with the faith and questioning and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill, I guess. Honestly, with all this Bud Light and trans and this whole drama that's been going on the past couple weeks, I've been finding more and more people are ugly. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be a trans person, go for it. But a lot of people have opinions on it, and that's where I look at to the people who are have their spiritual self, and they're believing in this higher power, and they look negative upon these people, which I don't. I think it's gross. I think if I look at a dude and it looks like a chick, I mean, come on, man. And I've seen some dudes that look like chicks that, like, is really hard to tell if it was an actual chick.
But you don't want to hurt them and beat them up and all of that
I'm
shit
not gonna
that
say,
everybody's trying to do, right?
No, but I just feel that there's a lot of people that want to, and it's
disgusting, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's ugly. You know what I mean? It's opinions, of course, but so now here I am with the dilemma.
Maybe that's part of the show.
it actually it is. This is all part of the show, and Dee Dee, it's information. Go ahead, Provo. What were you saying?
So, what Dee said resonates with me. I'm going to try to bring it back in with what everybody else was talking about, John Vance, Joe Cool, and Flow Estate. Sometimes I feel like in trans, I share similar sentiments to you, Dee, and for what I don't like about the group, there's one thing I think we could take from them, right? So we're always trying to be maybe not always, but I think there's a goal to be something better than who we are, right?
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you must embody that, right? In order to be a good man, you must do good things, right? And I think that's the first step. You just start becoming a good man. You don't, like, how do I get there? You start right now, right? And so with the trans
Yes.
thing, I think they're doing that concept in a kind of a diluted, corrupted way. But to move past it, I think we kind of need to forget who we've been and try to become who we want to be,
All
right?
right.
And there needs to be a detachment somewhere along the lines, because if you want to be a good person and you haven't, you got to maybe not forget it, but detach and say, you know what, that's the past, and in the future and going forward, I'm going to be the person I want to be in the future right now. I think
Starting
it
now.
starts right now.
Yeah.
But with that, Jack, there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen. And I want to give DD, Joe Cool, John Vance some more time. Flow State, Moose, brother, always appreciate you having me up here. And just want to say thank you to everybody on the panel. I'll leave with that.
Can I ask you a question first before you bounce?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Is that a
Peace.
painting of you behind you?
I answered that question two ways. In short, I could say yes, but it's actually a painting of 9/11, right? So you got the two towers and they're collapsing in each frame of my glasses. So if you see me, instead of like the scene, I usually have people are attached to the ego of the person and not the history of the moment.
Or they're on a cell phone and they just didn't zoom in. It's like zoomed in. I didn't even see no towers.
Yeah.
It's half hidden, but it is also my profile picture, and it's the scene I start every stream with is the two towers.
Okay.
That's
So
it's good. I like it. I wasn't gonna criticize the ego thing either. I was gonna actually admire it if it was just straight ego. Like, yeah, this is my picture of me. I painted it for me.
I didn't paint it myself. It was a local artist out of Utah. Support local artist. Her name is Amy Bingham. But yeah, I appreciate the kindness, Flow State. And can Moose, could you put Flow State's channel in the chat so I can give it a subscribe? Oh, you got some beautiful artwork yourself there, Flow State.
Oh, thank you. I support artists as well, I guess. Or I used to when I had more disposable income.
Yeah, it's important. Everybody's I think went to AI recently and they kind of forgot that people make real art. So and I think, Jack, you're making art here. It's virtual art, it's visual art, and it's art in motion. So keep cooking, Jack, and God bless you, DD, Flow State, Moose, and Joe Cool.
Peace, brother. And I need your link, Flow State, so I can, if you can put it in the private chat, I'll put it in the regular chat.
Hey, thank you for doing that, Provo. God bless. Thank you. Thank you for joining us and your continuing support and encouragement and influence. Whether it's intended or not, you are influencing me and probably many others. I resonate kind of with what you were saying, DD. There's some ugliness that's coming out, and a lot of this may be from the controversial topics that are raising up more and more, becoming more visible, being more promoted. But I agree with you, man. The hate that's being shown between so many people, it's kind of disappointing.
DD, what do you attribute it to? Like what Jack just said, some of it's being promoted, actually being promoted. Is that all you see in it? You see it? Where is that shit emanating from in your estimation? The ugliness.
I didn't hear. What did you hear him, Jack?
All right, I might have to change headphones again. Can you hear me now?
Your audio, I mean, we can hear you, but your audio quality has gotten worse.
All right, we changed headphones. Give me a minute.
Thank God he's gone.
No, hey, serious. I feel blessed. Some of you folks, Freedom Grower, you're always welcome too. Some of you folks coming in here, I appreciate this. It's not easy for men, especially strangers and publicly, to talk about some of the uncertainty, to talk about things we don't know.
You can't hear me now?
Yeah.
Much better, please.
Yes, sir.
I was asking DD. Jack said a lot of that ugliness emanates from it's being pushed on us, which I agree with. And I wonder where you think that ugliness comes from, since you're the cat who brought it up. Is it just being pushed, or is it you see other causes and shit of the ugliness that's happening right now?
No, it's coming from, people. It's coming from our fellow Americans, worldwide, actually. Um, People just can't accept the fact that people are different. They gotta, make up stories. They gotta make up, lies and just to, you know, be down on them.
Yeah.
I live my life as being good and do good. So me, I'm not gonna say what I say in my private life. Wouldn't. I would say that I would make jokes, and all good fun, but I would never do it to a gay person or a trans person's face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I mean, but you just like anything else, locker room talk,
Yeah.
but you see people posting it online, like their beliefs in it, and it's ugly. Like they don't see it being ugly.
I got trans friends, and I call them if you want to be she or he or whatever you want to be. And I'm not ashamed or afraid to tell them, no, you're still a dude. I don't give a fuck. You're 6'2", nigga. You're bigger than me. You're a dude. Now, I still can voice my opinion, and we don't fall out of issues and all that.
It's normally not the trans people that are the
Yes.
vigilantes about it.
Right.
No, normally they got to put up a lot of shit so you can understand, maybe them being a little protective or defensive of themselves. But it's people, just regular people like us, and not saying it's us, but just regular people, that
I
have
think
a
it's like
big problem with it.
I think it's like Jack said, though. The only way that occurs if the trans themselves aren't the ones having given a big shit about it. Why is it so prevalent in the community? It stands to reason now that someone has taken that and used it to keep us distracted, to play the game and keep puppets.
I think that it's personally, and I don't mean this derogatorily, even though it could definitely be taken that way, but I think it's a mental illness and it's been weaponized socially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's something to do with a medical condition.
Actually, I'll take that, what you said, and take it a step further. I think the human ego is a mental disorder, and it's been weaponized.
How?
They're weaponizing our ego.
Well,
I could see it.
I can see that.
Is it
By
a
ego, you mean
disorder though?
selfishness, basically, or like, what do you mean by the ego? Because there's a few, like, are you talking about like basically narcissistic behavior, like maximum ego, a maximally narcissistic person?
Or ego, like everybody got ego, is or like that.
I know how this will sound, but the ego is that which believes it is real.
The ego is the identification of the differences between us, right?
Yes.
And
The
those are
ego,
real.
what I mean is the ego is us. We are the ego. But when we identify as the ego, as the body and the memories and the physical being, when we identify as that, it's a delusion.
All right, that's what you meant. Ego is a
I got you.
disorder.
Because yes, within us, I keep meaning Moose is going to help me out. Reminder for you, Moose, if you're still listening. Moose is going to help me out figuring out how to do some of these crafts and stuff. But
Figure out that smoke detector too.
I'm
about to
I'm
send
gonna
an air
solve that
caster to your
alone.
house to fix that.
I just need a taller ladder.
Send a guy, because no man is gonna put up with that shit. What are you doing over there? Kevin Samuel cracks a joke. If he hears smoke detector, it must be a single woman, because no man would put up with that shit.
If you could just knock it off the ceiling, then you could put it in the trunk of your car and that's what I used to do. Just let them live there till they die.
I had to get up and walk around my house and look. I thought it was my house. Like,
I'm sorry. You know what?
annoying.
I did warn about that earlier, that the smoke detector alert. It's not yours. It's probably mine. And yes, it's it's the sign that I am single, and yeah, maybe it is. It's a sign of a single woman allowing this to continue. You know, I embrace the femininity within
All
me.
right. Hey,
I'm
well,
not
check this out.
helpless.
Here's something that y'all made me think of. Um, when all of us, I think, agree on that that trans shit is not really a real thing. But I like to get damn dogs. Every time he let them dogs out, they start barking next door.
Who let the dogs out?
All right. Fuckers bark at leaves, anything that move.
Well,
Anyway,
hey, check it
yeah.
out, Joe. So here's what really bothers me is people are bothered when they see the Dylan Muldavi, I think is the dude's chick's name, trans dude, whatever, on cans. I live in Florida. Land O'Lakes butter is made here. There used to be an Indian chick on the butter. They
Yeah.
took her off because there's Indian stuff. And
Yeah.
Aunt Jemima on syrup. They
Yeah.
took her off the bottle. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So they're
interesting.
removing all these figures of people that
And replacing them with
you're just you grew up with that most of your life, and then now they're going to shove a woman of the year, but it's actually a man on a beer can.
and I heard
I mean,
he won several woman of the years, I heard, in different magazines and
a
so
lot
on.
of
So
people, a lot of people who are trans have, especially
yeah,
men going to women.
athlete of the year.
You're not going to
I
see a
think it's
woman who
great,
transes to a man and then become man of the year. Can you imagine that?
No, nor athlete of the year, because I imagine she's gonna be getting dunked on her entire fucking time in the NBA if she gets any minutes. But I wanted to say that I got buddies who are gay and they do seem to have feminine attributes, and I don't think that it's just acting disorder. I think these motherfuckers do have a larger flow of estrogen or something. They're too fucking soft and all of that shit.
Yeah.
And don't
but
make him
there,
a woman. Doesn't make him a woman. I'm
right?
just
Because
saying
the proposal of a feminine gay man is not the same as the proposal of somebody who's trans, and they're saying
who's
something that's
yes, agreed.
blatantly falsifiable in objective reality.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
This is an area, the the trans and even the gay community is one that I've only had limited experience, personal experience or interaction with. So it's not an area where I have much competency. What I heard though,
Sure.
well, what I heard more though, what I thought I heard was the reactions was troubling as well. Not only the fact that this is all being promoted and coming to the news, but it's creating a lot of reactions, a lot of ugliness. And part of this separation, the big push I see for well, for the trans rights, the pride, the Black Lives Matter, it's all their identity issues.
I'm gonna beat you to death. For throwing fucking Black Lives Matter in with trans
All right,
homosexual,
well,
man.
bring
I
it.
Hey,
just
Hey,
I
my
resent that, bro.
well, even
the organization and the
Proud
sentiment are
Boys.
two very
I mean,
different things there.
there
Yes.
actually there's not. I mean, between all of these divisions, there's all these groups that are fighting for to be recognized, not only individually but collectively, and that's what it is these individuals are bonding with other individuals who are sharing it's trauma bonding in
Yeah.
many cases.
Yeah.
But
What you're saying, the others aren't real. The Black Lives Matter, excluding the organization that put it together and all of that shit. Those people who were in the streets, who were 80% white, even they thought
you're
that it
right.
was real that black people were getting pulled over and
Oh,
shot.
absolutely. And here, don't
But
get
it's
this
not
wrong. I mean,
statistically real.
I would
That's the
there
disagree, and
have
I'd love to argue that. Yeah, go
you
ahead, statistics. Give us a moment, please, Jack, because I would love to hear someone's why they don't
I
think
don't
it's
have
real.
the statistics offhand, but
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, white people are killed not only more across the board by cops, but also statistically more frequently.
I good thing you're talking to a cop watcher, and I keep look at these motherfuckers every few weeks. Generally speaking, you can say white people are killed at twice the rate of black people, but then when you throw in the blacks only make up 13% of the fucking population, they should only be getting killed at 13%. That's where the figure comes in.
That's
And
the
not only
thing.
that, they're ticketed at a higher rate. They'll get the higher sentences in jail, all of that bullshit at a higher rate.
So
Hey,
why
I've personally witnessed it.
I have witnessed it as well. I mean, I'm probably the only person on the panel who's been raided by the police. I guess my bone to,
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
I guess if you're a cop watcher, then you probably are still getting raided
Ditto.
regularly.
I used to
Um,
sell dope, man. I've been raided a few times.
but the name Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah.
If the problem is police brutality, which it is a problem, then why would you exclude everybody except for black people from that equation?
Well, that one's maybe let me make sure I comprehend before I say something. Why would you exclude everybody but black people?
Right,
Or what
because
city?
the issue isn't the issue of police brutality is not a black exclusive issue. It might be overrepresented
Oh, I
in
hear where you're going. I hear where you're
right.
going. And yes, and I agree with you. I don't think I think the name might have been kind of a troll to jab motherfuckers. Nobody means black lives are the only ones that matter or matter more. What it means is black lives matter. Also, we feel like people are
amen.
forgetting. And let me give you something that I say to that. When motherfuckers want to champion breast cancer, nobody says, why you just stick to breast cancer? You know, that thought doesn't cross your head, right? But if motherfuckers say some
I
black
think why
shit,
would you pump money into that racket anyways?
right, that's where you are first, though. But you understand, 95%
Right.
will go to the fucking board and shit. Yeah.
Hey, welcome, Scott. Before we jump in
Hey,
there,
Scott.
I want to address what I did, bringing up what I didn't mean to bring in Black Lives Matter
It
and
was
put it
great. I needed to hear that.
like,
I didn't have any good arguments. I'm glad that nobody's willing to talk about it at all. I'm glad dude had some courage and he was the right guy at the right time. Do not regret that exchange, bro.
Yeah, it was good, and
well,
I'll talk about it anytime. Jack, stop
the
apologizing for me.
the movement, as I understand, was influenced though, and it kind of grew in directions I don't think the movement was intending. I mean, because Joe, what
Of
you're
course,
saying,
we hijacked it. Yes, fuck them niggas. We took it over. Yes, I agree with that. Don't nobody give a fuck about Soros or the motherfuckers who started that shit. We don't give a fuck about them. Ain't none of us,
But
them
they
tens of
hijacked all the
thousands.
money, right? All the money.
Yes, they got all the money, and I'm sure they did some horrible shit with it. Yes, it was a bullshit. It was all some
So I guess that's
bullshit.
why I said that the organization and the sentiment are two
You
different
and
things.
I heard you when you immediately
Okay.
said it. Yes, you did. And I was out there in a lot of those, and the colleges did a study. It was 80% white motherfuckers. I got really good video of all races out there dancing and jumping on cars and fuck you, cop. It was a sentiment felt by all. Yes.
I used to be a Proud Boy, and
Yeah.
for a while our chapter president was both black and gay, and actually the one before him was Filipino.
Didn't I see something about a Proud Boy guy being the leader being black when it started being known? It would have
Well,
probably been around.
the president of the whole thing is Enrique Tarrio.
That's the guy I saw. He would have been
Well,
black and gay.
he's Afro-Cuban,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I
I
think
don't
this.
know why
I had
that
to leave.
gives a
It's too hot. There's too many feds inside of everything. But
yeah, I don't know why that gives it some credence because you'll allow and the black dude started gay. To me, that was a positive for the Proud Boys because when I think
well,
of
I
them, I
mean, just
think it's an exclusive club.
right. There's just a lot of narrative going around. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
well, there's there's a lot of plans and a lot of chaos that's going out. But my point was more the divisions that have been conditioned within us. It's all these divisions, conflicts are promoted
yeah.
so that we don't unite. Because once we unite, fucking banking industry will change immediately.
Conflict is the only valid conceptual reason that justifies government's existence.
Yes, if there's no injured party and all of that shit, there's no real justification for these cats.
Hence the creation of money.
Well, which came first, though, the governments or the money? I think the money came first and then paid for the governments and the enforcement
Well,
and
money's just a tool, right?
Government would have come first.
conceptually,
Well,
money is just a tool. It's a medium of exchange and it's a store of value.
so they say.
No, I mean, like, but really, what does that mean? I don't.
Yeah, so they say.
Don't you understand, like, the utility in being able to have an exchange
Whether
medium
it
that's
be a
not like
seashell or a clam, we're calling it
right.
money. Yeah.
Maybe you don't want the ankle bracelets I knitted together this morning, but I still would like some eggs from your chickens. You know, like it
Right.
eliminates that whole bullshit.
Right. And
Well,
I say,
Until you bring in the hooker.
Well,
well,
everybody wants hookers.
Yeah, that's where
no.
the money's at. That's what I'm saying. You see,
See,
money's money until you add something else that's money.
Like
there you
crack.
go.
wait, no,
Actually,
I didn't get what he said. I got confused as fuck what he said. Money is money till you add money. I don't know what that meant.
until there's something more important than money. That's why they say prostitution is the oldest living profession, because some man figured out how to convince everyone money had value. So then the
You
woman
really,
learned
I
how
don't
to
believe that
adapt.
for 2
I
seconds.
read
I
the
don't
other
believe that for 2 seconds.
I read the other day. This
Sounds
is kind of
good.
ironic. Money was created, the dollar bill, because gold and silver was too heavy to carry around. So that's why the government grabbed everyone's gold and silver and gave all of us the dollars.
I wouldn't
It's
believe
supposed to
that
be
for a
on the gold
second.
That's
on
They
the
what
did
gold
they
it for
standard.
say.
us. I wouldn't believe that for a fucking second. They never do anything for
Can
us.
I introduce
Just
you
saying
guys
that.
to what happened?
Hold yeah. We getting away from 2 things that I wanted to talk about that Jack said.
Well,
One of them
I
was
can sit back. I can just tell you. You know who Tribe is, don't you? I think it's Tribe that
Yeah.
came up
I
and
do
was
know
talking
Tribe.
about.
Yeah.
All right, he was talking about it. They used to pay people. Ford came out with an idea, and Tribe just nailed it the other day. Did you hear him talk about it? Anybody?
How the
We don't
fuck
know.
we know what Tribe said the other day?
I don't know if you were watching, if you follow any of that shit.
Well,
I
we don't
can't
know
remember.
any of that.
It was on Paul's show or whatever, but I caught 10 minutes and he was talking about this. At any rate, Ford tried to come up with the $5 a day job. All right, remember what $5 back in the 20s and 30s was? It was a quarter ounce of gold, a $5 gold piece. Okay, so if you have $5 a day at the end of the week, what do you have? An ounce and a quarter of gold. Now,
God damn.
today, who wouldn't work for that? At the end of a month, how much money have you made? Now you're into a fucking 6-figure income. Okay. So what was happening is the bankers came in and they were fucking taking all this gold and storing it. And like he said, money was too, or the gold was too heavy. So they started giving them pieces of paper on deposit slips. They
No.
changed
What he said was the gold was too heavy for the people to carry. Now you're saying it was too heavy for the banks. Y'all are talking about 2 different things.
No. I said it was too heavy for the people to carry. That's why they deposited in the bank and they got the slip for the on deposit. Instead of coming back to trade the gold, they
All
started
right,
trading.
so it wasn't the banks who determined that it was too heavy. It was the people.
The banks allowed the people to keep their wealth and they gave them receipts. People, rather than coming and grabbing their wealth and trading it, they started trading the receipts. The bank came up and said, well, we can just start creating receipts.
Are you intentionally dodging my question?
I don't get what your question is. Please reiterate it. And my apologies if you think I did.
Okay. The first thing that came up was the people. I think it was Jack who said this. That he heard that it was too heavy for the people to carry around, so the government created money. And now you're telling me that I don't hear the part where the people complained that money was too heavy. You're telling me about banks and stuff. Where's the people complaining and
It
what
was
you're
the
saying?
gold. Okay.
You understand the question? When did the people? That's all I'm concerned about. When did the
I was the
people
one who said
complain?
that.
Well,
Okay,
I
thank you.
couldn't give you an exact date. I can tell you some of the dates of when things happened, the Federal Reserve Act, stuff like that. But
Does that mean
my
the people complained? It's my assertion that the
no,
government
they didn't have
hijacked
to
it.
complain. They
Hey,
just kept depositing their money in the banks. Their
Okay, then
actions.
my answer to my question is no, they did not complain. What are we wrestling about?
well, hey, Joe,
I
here, hold on. As I understand, part of the development, like with the I can't the temple, whoever it was with the Catholic Church, the Rosicrucians or the Templars, I think is who it was. They would provide security for those people going to the Holy Land to do their prayers and stuff like that, rather than the people carrying all their gold and wealth. The church started up deposit here and you can retrieve the same amount there. And so money, as I understand what you guys were talking about, it started out as just a record of deposit. And then the bankers realized that the people were trading the record of deposit.
I understood
Correct.
all of that, Jack. That had
Yeah.
nothing to do with what I was talking
Oh,
May
about.
I
okay.
continue
Maybe
then? May
I'm-
I finish if you guys got it that far? This is a land of milk and honey. People came from all over the world to come work here. And what ended up happening is these other people from other far off lands would come and they'd get their freaking quarter ounce of gold a day, their ounce and a quarter a week, their 5 ounces a month. Okay. And they'd send it to other countries. So our gold and silver and shit that we had in this country, because the bankers weren't managing it properly, our government came in and said, if we let this continue, we're going to have no gold. That's what happened. That's now
Well,
from what I've read. That's what I've read, and I wasn't there. I don't know for certain.
That's why ships wreck with caches of gold in them. You got all this gold being transferred back and forth from continent to continent. I mean, it makes sense.
Well, but here's what doesn't make sense. Okay, where it started, Flo pointed out that money was a symbol of exchange, a representation, something like that. I said, so they say.
Yeah.
As I've been looking at, the way our economic systems are structured and what money actually is, it's a tool of slavery. Okay, without money, there'd be no slavery. But money in today's reality is a symbol of debt. Every dollar is a debt that the banker sold to the government so that the government could disperse it out to us so we could borrow it from the banks. And money today, while it is a tool, it is an instrument, it is an energy, and it represents our energy. But money in a transaction flow, if you sell me apples, actually say I buy apples from you and sell them to Joe never learns about you. All he knows is the money and me. And so the money becomes like a separation between us, and it breaks the relationship bond between people.
That's inaccurate because you provided utility to him. He and
But
I
I
didn't
can
know
do
each other
that.
anyways. So he wouldn't have been able to get the apples if you hadn't facilitated the exchange. So you did create value in that situation, even though you didn't create a product.
But again, the money comes back to a symbol of debt. I can also just, if I have an abundance of apples, I can share some with you and I can share some with Joe. And as
Not
you have,
necessarily. Not necessarily, right? What if your apples don't come for 2 months? And I got to shoe your horse today. Then you owe me X amount of apples. Now we could exchange money, and I don't even have to fucking get the
correct.
apples. I can buy them 2 weeks or 2 months later, or I can use it to buy my horse some more shoes.
Well, back
Correct.
then you were bartering a lot as well. A lot of
Yes, which
bartering.
is where we're going. Let me
Well,
get to the question where Jack had said something earlier about which came first, government or money. I said I think government did, and he was saying money. Then we went off onto I think the definition of money, which needs some more talking about too. But I think the government did because I think what would have been called the government, and y'all correct me, is
We've had a ton of different forms of currency
yes,
and
yes, I'm
exchange,
talking
right?
about.
So, but governments have always been,
But
the king.
but check this out. Tell me if this qualifies as government. I'm going to the very first people. I'm assuming before they even decide they're still doing barter. They ain't even got clamshells yet for money. They're just doing barter. But when someone doesn't follow through, someone has to go get 6 of his guys and encourage him to make good on his shit. Do what he got to do. I think I'm calling that government, and I'm saying that would have come before any currency.
Joe, can I interrupt?
If you're gonna fucking not really, no, because you're gonna fucking take it somewhere else. Go ahead, man.
Well,
If
no,
it's
money came first. It came
oh
first.
well,
It's just
yes, man.
really simple.
Interrupt.
Money
Yes, go
came
ahead.
first.
All right, go
How
ahead.
did
You
it
tell me
not
what.
come first? What is consider this? We call it a fiat currency.
Yeah.
What's behind the currency today?
The threat
The
of force.
original currency. The
The,
original currency.
the threat of force.
No, come on. Get with it. What's behind the currency? What is the dollar worth something for?
Well, you tell me because I said
Your
through the
labor,
force.
your labor, it's your labor, period. The first form of currency ever, anything. If somebody wanted something, they would use their labor to trade for what they wanted.
Can we
So
define?
you
But we need to
saying
define money
labor?
first because we're talking about all
Yeah,
different things. Labor is not money.
right.
It's
Are
what
you
they're using as currency right now. Now, okay, I understand it's not. What are you saying? It's not. It's not because you can't hand it to
Money
somebody.
has very
Yes,
specific
that's what money
features.
is.
It's
Yes.
been defined. It's a medium of exchange and a store of value.
It's an imagined value.
It is imagined, but it's a tool. I mean, lots of things are imagined and contrived, right? But they're
Well,
very real and they have real utility. So the real utility in money, besides those things, is that like think about the efficiency of transacting, right? If you want my apples, but I don't want your horseshoe, now we got to figure out how you can get me a dozen bushels of apples that I don't need.
Exactly.
But
hold on.
if you
Hold
have
No,
on.
he's
units,
on it. He's doing
if you
brilliant.
have units of
No.
exchange, then I can figure out how much of this is worth. And since we're measuring in the same way, we can efficiently come to the most equilibrium exchange.
Yeah.
Because we can divide it according to those units.
Jack seems to vehemently disagree. Jack.
I know. Go ahead, Jack. Fight me.
Well,
It's
you
not all
started-
fucking logical to me.
It is, but this is the problem. Logic is what has created governments and wars and the reliance of money. Logic.
So what are you
But
saying? Logic is sucks and we shouldn't use it, or I'm not sure where you're going with that one.
logic must not be used without love.
What
Okay.
the
And
fuck? You're distracting
here,
and deflecting. What
no,
the fuck that got to do with
Joe,
what dude
God
said?
damn it, Joe. My purpose is clear. Okay. The live without fear. It is to bring the messages of love to humanity.
Bring it to money then and explain to
So
me.
back to this conversation where I was shaking disagreement
Yeah.
was the whole explanation started with the agreement. Yeah, I know money is a made up value. Here's my entire point. For us to change this world, we've got to stop playing this make believe bullshit.
Fine,
This money is not of value. It has no value other
What's
than
not of value
what
is
we think.
other people's sentiments. You can say that I bring love and we should all use love, but how somebody else's feels about the transaction to me isn't always important. It normally
Right.
isn't.
The facts matter. And what matters with the facts is the honorable exchange between human beings. And Joe, what you said too, that the government exists to pursue those who don't uphold their word. We will have more freedom as more morality increases, as people become more moral, being able to say, hey, yeah, brother, let's make this exchange. I don't have it right now, but it's coming. My word is golden, right? If we start living with honor, we won't need policy enforcements and courts and all this other nonsense that keeps us divided.
All right, well then you go first and cash out me some money, and I'll send it back to you when my gambling winnings pay off,
Or you don't give it back because it doesn't really have any value.
or that. But I mean, my point is like that's a great concept. That's a great idea, but it only works in a vacuum. You can't actually live that way in reality because people will rip you off faster than you know what to do with yourself.
Well, admittedly, yeah, I've been robbed and people have fucking. I'm a generous man. I've been blamed and made fun of because yeah, I've spent maybe $20,000 trying to reunite with my son. Yeah.
Well, you should have hired me. I'd have been like, "Hey, bro,
Right.
come on, we're going to see Jack. Get in the car
now." All right, we're going to see him now.
The opportunity still exists for anyone to reach out to him, but he ignores me. And
I'm going to need 20 grand.
I don't
have 20 grand.
I would talk to you, Jack. I would actually discuss this with you offline. It sounds like a personal thing.
Yeah.
It is a personal thing, but here's the thing. This is my life. Okay. And
smoke the sector sound.
Was there? Is that what that says?
Yeah.
Golly, this is the life we're living. These words I'm saying, I don't know if it's possible or not, but I truly believe the only solution for humanity is to find different ways to get along. And I think if we put our minds to it, we could create a future where governments and budgets, they were just, they were something you considered once in a while, but we don't need them.
I sort of agree.
Thank you.
I still think that money as a tool has a lot of positive attributes. But I mean, I understand and don't disagree with the sentiment, but I do think that like just operating off love is childish and wrong.
Yeah, and not having a fucking plan. Even
Well, I
if
mean,
you,
it's very. I mean, it doesn't sound selfish at first, but it's very selfish to think that how I feel about something matters broadly. Really, it's just that's self.
I understand. I totally understand.
Okay, you're absolutely right. But if you bring the overwhelming concept into just yourself, right? If you just try yourself, and the only time you can do it is now. So as you go through your day, if you can just become more generous for yourself, less worried about the money, right? My
He can,
purpose,
and he does that every day, but it doesn't alter reality. Is his point?
well, after time it will. I
I
foresee and I want a world without fear of money or conflict.
All right, let's do
I
this,
tried
Jack.
that, but my landlord
So I
got pissed.
live without money
Let's do
and
this then,
conflict.
Jack. Let's do this. The year we're gonna call it 2023. Throughout all of human history, certainly since the origin of the government and businesses and stuff, has there been a time where just love and honor and all of that shit will suffice?
I don't
Odds are
know.
it won't happen in your lifetime. I want that shit, but let's play the odds. The best indicator of what may happen in the future is what's happened in the past. So far, people are worse. Every fucking writer that you know about, whether fiction or real, has talked about how corrupt people are and how corrupt the higher people are.
Right. But the world never had us before.
Oh,
That's
that's
We are
more
new.
ego.
so much not. That's even you. Like I said, that was a selfish perspective, and you doubled down on how selfish it
Yeah,
is.
even double ego. Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
Well,
unless
if you look at reality, right? Like if I decided to live the way you're suggesting, is that being honorable to say my landlord, who needs money on the
well,
first to pay the
no,
mortgage? In?
we still pay our obligations. I mean, in today's world, we have to do that. We got to abide by what we owe
We got
in
4
the best
kids,
manners we
landlords,
can.
cats. Like there's like people need me to not do that.
That was funny.
Well, admittedly, I know how foolish this sounds, and I know how my life might look on the outside, but
It's
No.
not a
Let's not
personal judgment
confuse.
at
Yeah,
all. I'm
let's not
critiquing the
confuse
idea,
your
not
life with your
yeah.
philosophy. We're discussing your philosophy, not your
I didn't
life. You threw
I
that in
didn't
there.
get to my point.
But you
Okay.
understand what you just did, right? You
Yeah.
said, I know it sounds crazy, but my life. Understand that we're not going personal. It is just debating your philosophy. Stop
I
tying it
know.
with your life.
I know. Well,
All
this
right.
is my life.
It's
Like
now or
Sun
never.
Tzu says, sometimes in war you got to burn the ships behind you. You got to make sure you're fucking committed to your cause and you got to know your why. Well, I humbled myself to the reality of my situation and know my why, and I'm gambling. I've risked my home. So far, I'm able to keep that going, but I've risked everything in my life, everything I've worked for the purpose of ending debts and wars through the world. I think
Whoa.
it's
Back
possible.
up. I got a girl. I don't want to argue with you, but this is about to change the whole fucking mood of the so and so. I just cannot buy that you said, I'm going to be some holy guy. And then suddenly you risked your life and spent all your money and stuff to change and be this guy that you are now. You'd have to explain to me what that looks like. You didn't just fucking walk out the bank and walk away from your home because you're a righteous dude, which is kind of
No, absolutely not. No, and I've never made that claim. My life fundamentally changed. The routines of my life, the support I had, the income, all of that changed. So I've seen a meme on Facebook that applies to me. It's not like I woke up one day saying, "Hey, the world is all backwards. You should try listening to me." I didn't wake up one day and have that shit happen.
You're
It
saying
was
it happened because you're a good guy, though? Is that what you're saying? You lost all of these things because you became good and tried to stand on truth? This sounds like the assertion that you're making.
this is the story that, yeah, I chose to improve, and others around me became confused. And as a result of accusations and rumors, I lost my family and my career. And so here it is. I'm starting over. I'm building in a new direction. Moose has joined me. This is the new path I'm going.
How are the accusations tied to your changed view? Like, because it sounds like and I mean, I don't know any specifics, so I could totally be wrong. But when I hear what you just said, it sounds to me like somebody who's putting a narrative around their life. Because I know that for me, change didn't happen until my bad decisions and bad behavior came and fucked me up.
That's the way change usually occurs.
Yep. I absolutely understand that. I went through, after I got sober, after I went to detox and did my 12 steps and started working on me.
How many
And
steps
I'm not
did
the
you get
only
through?
one.
How many steps did you get through?
I got through like 4. Sorry.
I worked with a sponsor for the complete process, but and I'm not alone in this. I've heard of other people too that after they got sober, their family fell apart, they lost their job, they're faced with different challenges. That was me. But the reality is, what led it? I was a nobody postal clerk here in Spokane, Washington, a small local president, not a great big city, not a great big local, but me, a nobody. I had ideas that I thought could help improve the United States Postal Service across the nation. So, just like I've been saying I want to do here, I reached out to those at the top. I wanted to speak to the leaders, speak to the bosses, and I did. But when I spoke to the bosses, the attorneys, they they had different opinions of what I was doing, and when I challenged the opinions of the attorneys, you could say I pissed off the wrong man in Washington D.C. And so shortly after that, I was
What were the can you tell what suggestions did they object to and on what grounds?
I was investigated, and there's like a 60-page
I just want the spark notes.
Federal ethics violations.
And what was the claim that you made that they thought was unethical?
They claimed that I illegally used my position as a federal employee and as a business owner. They said that as a business owner and federal employee, I illegally used my insider position in order to have a conversation for the purposes of private enrichment. So they painted the case that I was trying.
You were suggesting these things for your own personal
that
gain.
they would benefit you,
right? And this is what I've been saying. My intentions have been pure. I've been trying to help others.
No, that is not what. That's not how that
would
comes
your
off.
suggestions? I mean, if you take intention out of the whole thing, if they had agreed to your suggestions, would that have likely increased your business, whatever your business was? What was your other business?
I think we got to ask, what was your suggestion?
Let me answer both, because this all happened January 1st, 2018 until March 5th, 2018. So from January to March, January 1st, I made a choice to make a change. Sometime in February, after investing in my education and starting to get ideas for the future, I paid the fee, and I did the paperwork to form myself as an LLC. The idea being as a tax write-off for the investments I was making in my own development. I was investing in myself. The idea I brought, so my business was undefined, but in the realm of life coaching and public speaking. So I flew to Washington, D.C., and I met with executives there. And the idea I was
Requested.
trying, what's that?
I say requested. You met with them and requested what?
I met with them with the intentions of I applied for promotion, basically. I went and met with executives. They've got a group called the Employee Engagement Team, where their purpose of the organization is to help improve the workplace climate, get employees more engaged in the mission. And so I looked at it from a business perspective, from my union background, from the perspective of psychology that I was seeing.
You tried to
And
contract your employer with your personal coaching thing for new hires.
That's what it sounds like.
no.
That's what I would have done.
Well, when I flew to, here's what happened. I sent an email and I asked for a conversation, and I presented to them, I'd like to talk to you about some ideas I have for an ad hoc assignment, maybe a detail where I travel around to other locations and help improve the workplace climate. They opened the door up, they scheduled me for a 30-minute phone call, and at first I was like, 3 weeks for a phone call. Screw you guys. I don't really care. But then I realized, holy shit, these guys, it's executives of one of the largest employers in the nation, and they're willing to give me their attention. So what the fuck are you going to say, Jack? Well, I started figuring out what it was I was trying to bring and what was working for myself. It was mindfulness. So I pulled up data, Google, Aetna, Purina, all these major corporations have invested in their own mindfulness and meditation employee development programs. So I brought the data from Google and these other places that had studied, and I brought that to the Postal Service, said, I'm here to convince you to hire me for a job you didn't know you needed.
That's exactly what dude just said.
Well,
that's fascinating because that's basically what this is called, Culture Index, and it's a
what is that? One more.
This is a workbook I got. Culture Index is a company that does it basically does, you use personality assessments for hiring, so you can reverse engineer the type of employee you want for a position, and you can pre-sort candidates and stuff like that. And after I was a banker, after I quit being a banker, but before I decided to be a felon instead, I was getting trained in this, and I was gonna sell these. It's a commissions only job, and I've recently been thinking about touching base with the owner again, because he trained me, and he's actually reached out to me since after I got done with my legal shit, and he said, the job's still on the table, but it's a commissions only thing, and I didn't have the financial resources to sort of float myself. But now I'm just thinking about it again. I broke this out last night to kind of refresh myself. So I just think it's interesting that you're trying to sell like what I was just thinking about selling.
Hey, brother, take that as a sign.
Yeah,
really
I actually kind of
consider it.
Yeah,
this stuff, it is so powerful. All I was bringing was the concept of teaching people to pay attention to their thoughts, right? To resolve the conflicts within before they become conflicts on the workroom floor. That's what I was trying to do at the post office. And well,
it's probably an innocent mistake, but like there is definitely there's you should have thought about that through,
No, here the thing is they took circumstantial facts, they manipulate them, they manufactured accusations, progressed through discipline. I got my job back, overturned all the discipline. They refused to allow me to come back to the Postal Service because I could not convince a doctor to write on a piece of paper that I could return safely, that Jack Talcott is
you should have wrote it yourself, Jack. Come on.
That would be forgery, and that would be a criminal.
I was gonna crack a joke. You say the reason they didn't have me back, I was gonna say because they thought you'd shoot up the place, and then you say because the doctor wouldn't say it'd be safe to have me back.
Yo, cool. That's no shit. My union and the post office denied my day in arbitration. I've never received a day in court. I claim to have been misrepresented. And the reason my 22-year career ended was because I couldn't convince a doctor to give me a permission slip.
Did you try a different doctor?
Yes.
That's
None of the doctors would do it.
Here's a dose of reality.
Jack, you're a dangerous motherfucker.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Apparently.
here's a dose of reality. If you couple that with, and this is my opinion, you are still bitter about that shit. And you going up there to that building when you saw your ex-bosses, I don't know how long this is later, it would lend me to believe that they were onto something. This nigga is scorned and he won't let shit die. That's just the way my mind works.
You know
I'd
why?
be bitter too.
Well, exactly. I presented facts, and you guys are both recognizing that there's reasons to be bitter, but I'm not. I'm actually grateful.
Why not? Why
Because,
would you? I mean, I think that would be normal to be bitter.
well, it was, and I screamed and I cried, and actually, when I got the charges in the mail, and I recognized that I'm a criminal in the eyes of these people, they saw me as a fucking criminal. So everything I'd done in the past didn't matter. Well, it broke me. And I recognized after I kept waking up every day, well, holy shit, Jack, this is apparently your reality. So what are you going to do? And so I'm not bitter. I'm actually grateful. Like I've said, when my family and my career separated from me, well, God allowed me to become closer to me and closer to God. And I don't know why. I'm nothing special, but
I mean, there can be good outcomes from something and you still be bitter about it. Like, I think that, like, my legal bullshit, I'm still bitter about the cops making shit up on an affidavit so they can kick the door in, right?
I'm still bitter.
Right. I mean, good things did come from it for sure, but I'd be lying if I told you I'm not pissed off as fuck.
Yeah. When I'm yelling at people, it's because of cops and shit. It is because I am angry as fuck. I cannot even control myself. I black out sometimes. I'm so fucking angry. Still, this has been years.
I've done that a few times. That's not fun.
Yeah.
They prey upon that. You got to be careful, man. They're looking for that. For instance, if there's a group of people and they can put some instigators in the middle of it.
Yes.
If they want to get involved, they'll start the trouble. And that's what their contract says. Their contract is to make sure there's no trouble. So they're getting paid. They're getting paid to stop trouble. If there's no trouble, what aren't they getting?
They're getting paid for nothing.
Or
they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid. A lot of assets are sitting still. Nothing's moving forward. Taxpayers' dollars aren't getting built.
So, what is the interest in making society where people don't break laws? What is the interest in their fucking on their end? It's not logical.
The incentivization. They're not. If you look at even like Department of Justice grants to local law enforcement, none of it is like to reduce crime. All of it is to have crime, to get it off the streets and into the courtroom. That's why they love meth and
That's
guns.
logical. When you come in Chicago, the first thing, I don't give a fuck what crime you did. The first thing they ask is, do you have a job? It's all about the fucking money, man. How much money can we charge this fuck?
Brother, that's absolutely true. I heard this pointed out somewhere else. The laws, all of these laws are made to protect the oppressor. And it's a fine-based structure of laws. It's all bullshit. This fines and punishment for profits. I don't know.
No, I think you're right.
Hey guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up though. Not to
No. I was about to tell you I had to write out anyway.
But
it's
Jack,
been fun
we're just
as
not
always.
getting to the bottom of this shit. We're just figuring out why you're still angry.
Yes, therapy will continue tomorrow.
Yeah,
great. It is always great over here. And I'm gonna leave on saying something a bit goofy. I knew by the characters up here, the energy that would be up here, and all of that bullshit. There's something to that shit. Pay attention to the way you move us around and shit. It'll help the longevity of your show. Some of us are gonna fucking argue and fight, and it's gonna change shit. This is just from an outside observer. Different energies with different people. You keep that in mind, you and most. It's been great, fucking flow, Jack. I think you're incredible. You guys have been great. Scott, and who else? John. Thank you guys. Later.
Good. It's been good.
Peace,
Amen.
my friend. Peace.
Thanks, Joe. God bless, brother.
And Jack, I want to second what he just said. Like the synchronicity of, like, I knew about your post office bullshit kind of for a while now, but I'd never heard the specifics of it. So I think the synchronicity of the timing on that was I don't know. It got noticed.
I'm glad. You know, this is something I didn't really mention it earlier, but at church today afterwards, there was a lady. She came up and she said, "Hey, I'm guided to pray for you. Do you mind?" I'm like, "Of course not, right?" So she offered some prayers, and the words she said, they were pretty important to me. So
Go on.
it was just confirmation about having faith and trusting that the evil will subside, that there's strength here in what's happening. So the point was, I really believe that there's something divine and magical in this thing we call life, and that we never know. Messages and signs, they do come to us. So notice the patterns. Thanks for joining, Flow State.
Thanks for having me on. Take it easy.
God bless, brother. Peace. Scott,
What's up, buddy?
how you doing, brother?
Fairly partly cloudy. Drove to the water today, about an hour and a half. Took my mom down there. My born on dates tomorrow.
Blessings.
So, thank you. I turned the double nickel.
Just getting started.
I told on the other were you on there the other day? No, Paulie's show. I said you have two archaeologists. Or no, this archaeologist was a different part of it. You have two nickels. They equal 55 cents. One is not a nickel. What are they?
You said that. You mean two coins equal 55 cents?
Yep, one is not a nickel. What are they?
I don't know.
It's a 50-cent piece and a nickel. You have to pay attention to it. I only said one is not a nickel. I didn't say
one is not a nickel.
That's where they get us with the words.
No.
They get us with the words.
Brother, that's a good lesson.
If you don't pay attention, and that's in contract. They're doing this in contract. But remember, the biggest thing that I hear a lot of people looking for remedy, and one thing you have to do is be able to stand for yourself, but two, call out the bullshit. These contracts lack one key element. Well, several oftentimes, but the key element of disclosure. See, if you don't know something because they didn't tell you, how is this a valid contract?
There's something to be said on that, Scott. That could open up a new conversation.
Yeah, I'm not going any further than that, but just keep that in mind. I hope you do well. I hope you have a good evening, my friend, and wrap her up. Peace, friend.
Amen, brother. Thank you for stopping by. And for those who tuned in tonight, tune in at a later time. Thank you for joining us. Some Sunday reflections. I hope some of my inspirations came out, and I hope some of our conversations maybe prompt your own ideas, maybe your own inspiration, encouragement, because brothers and sisters, seriously, learn to enjoy being you. No one else can be you, and no one else will ever be you again. This is your time to explore a little bit, have fun with it, and discover how much more of you there is to find. So until next time, please do the share, subscribe, and invite others to join us again tomorrow night as planned, at least 5:30 Pacific time PM. And God bless. Choose love. Peace for everyone.